or they were aborted. Whatever the case was with children, they're taken there. And then there are also rooms which we'll call theaters, for lack of a better term. Because the one wall is where the picture, it's sort of like a movie, cinema, or sort of like a TV. And yet it's like a stage because it's three-dimensional. But you know it's not the real actors, because one of the scenes we see there is actually the life of Christ. As we see what happened in the life of Christ.
So the children see.
The children see this as part of their instruction. See? And they see how Jesus died on the cross. And this really breaks them up, to see him hanging there on the cross. Because see, as spirit beings, they can see the demons which were hovering around the cross, which the people on earth didn't see. And they see this, and of course that breaks them up. Also, every saint that goes to heaven is required to see this, because after all, Jesus dying on a cross is the reason we're here.
So there is a feeling of remorse sometimes, or sadness in heaven.
Yes, strange as it may seem, it's required for our training. Required for our training, and we must see that scene. Also, there is a videotape, shall we say, video cassette of your life and my life.
So that's how the record's kept. Of
That's one way the records are kept. One is kept in books and writing, you know, but others are kept in actual visual sight. They can see and hear their life. Well, now that's enough to make somebody behave, isn't it?
Well, certainly.
The bad parts are cut out.
Well, now, see, when Jesus forgives our sins, of course, he really washes them away. No trace. So that when you look at your life again, those areas which would have been sin are cut out. When we're saved, you know, it's probably from then on when you can see your life and see what you did on earth. That's one of the things that takes place in there. Many other rooms, many other places. But this wall only has 3 gates, a north and south and east. There's none on the west. We'll describe that later, why that is. But we're going to enter into the gate that's to the east. We like the eastern gate because, as we said before,
the throne of God faces the east.
The throne of God faces the east. Right. So we go in to this part, and it's huge. But the activity takes place in the walls. A lot of activity. There's also chambers. Now we talked about the country mansions. This is a city mansion.
We have another mansion.
Yes, city mansion. One day the Spirit of God said to me, today I'm going to show you something. And I knew it was going to be something grand. And I said, oh, I'm afraid. And the Spirit of God said, okay, that's all right. And so a little later, the Spirit of God came back and said, now really, I really want you to see this. I said, yes, but I'm still afraid. He said, well, all right. And then the Spirit of God came the 3rd time. This time, we're going. So, okay, I knew enough not to argue.
When your angel calls, you go.
When your angel calls, you go. And but the Spirit of God seemed to be very patient with me. And this touched me. The Spirit of God is patient with us. So the place I went was beyond description. Suppose I would tell you that a flower stem looks like a plastic drinking straw. I mean, it doesn't move you, doesn't it? Doesn't it? The petals made of diamonds 14 inches long, which tapered out to a sharp point. And I looked around, and everything was made of crystal. But the light I told you about, the colors reflecting off of these, gave different reflections of color to everything. Beautiful.
This is inside the city mansion.
This is inside my city mansion, which is in Ezekiel called a chamber. And then I saw 2 creatures, crystal clear, a masculine being and a feminine being. And but then I noticed they didn't see me, and I relaxed a little bit. And I said, Spirit of God, I don't belong here. Would you take me out of this place? After you learn your lesson, I'll take you out. So I stuck with it. And I heard a beautiful music And I looked around, couldn't see any musical instruments, nothing I could recognize as a musical instrument. And I tried to follow the sound, and I came to a little brook, a little streamlet, beautiful water, sparkling blue. And I said, it has to be coming from there. I walked over and looked down into that stream, and I saw what were rows of jewels. And they were positioned so that as the water fell over them, it made music. You've seen a music box, like a doing, doing, make music. That's the principle. And I was flabbergasted.
Like a wind chime, only it's a water chime.
Wind chime, yeah, right. That's the idea of it.
This is within your chamber?
This is in this chamber, which I later understood to be my chamber. I didn't know at the time what it was. I had no idea, see. But then these two beings that I saw, they looked at me. Boy, did I feel terrible. See, the beautiful light could shine right through them and make them beautiful color. But here I was, this opaque, putrid. You know, Isaiah said, Lord, I'm not fit to be in this place. And the angel said, wait, I'll get a coal of fire and touch it to your lips. Purify his lips. And that must be the way I really felt terrible in that place. But later on, I found out that was my mansion, see. Let's go to the front of the mansion where it looks out into the area which we've described as the most holy place, the place in front of God's throne. The front of it is like a big window, but it's not, there's no window there. You can step right out. Outside is a rainbow pathway. It's sort of called spiral. It spirals up. You find this description also in Ezekiel about the temple. And you're looking out, you see God on his throne.
From your chambers, you can see God.
Yes, from all the chambers you can look out and see God. Now, in the front of the chamber, in what we call the front room, there's, the best I can describe it as a bean bag. I'm glad somebody invented bean bags so I could describe this, yes. Because, see, you just fall in it and it takes your shape. And there you can just relax and observe the face of God. And the walls have these beautiful green and blue and wine tone tints in them. And it like cloud-like that can change, like wallpaper patterns, you know. Very beautiful. But let's go out now and let's pretend now we're in the throne of God, standing with God in the throne. All right? We look back at the mansion and we see that there is a whole row of mansions, chamber mansions. And they reach about 2/3 of the way around, so that God on his throne can sit and look at all the people in the mansions, companions in each chamber. Here we are back again, 2 companions, paradise, presence of God.
Not only are there 144,000 chambers in one row, but there are 144,000 rows.
Now a chamber is about, now again this is cubit measure, but in feet it would be about 15 feet high and about 25 feet wide. That's about the size of this chamber as you're looking at it, see? Now the throne of God, as we said, can be seen by looking out of the mansions, people looking at God's face. In God's throne, he looks and sees the chambers. In front of the throne is a large oval area, I'd say 200 miles, I'm estimating. 200 miles long and about 75 miles wide. Now this is made out of sapphire jewels. I found this also in Ezekiel, describing the sapphires underneath the throne of God. And it's called a sea because it's blue and because it's shiny. And it's called glass because it is actually made of sapphires, which represent glass. So that's the term, sea of glass. In other words, it's not water. It's not the flowing of the Spirit of God. It's a rather solid place to stand.
Is it like a reflecting pool? Does it reflect anything, or is it just...
It would reflect the light of God, yes. However, it doesn't appear to reflect too much light. It just appears before God's throne. It's like a moving platform. It can be moved away for other activities. But it is a place where the saints of God appear before God's throne